and welcome to this class of sleep, dreams, and diet through the lens of human design. I am your host, Ina, and I'm so excited to be sharing this revolutionary information with everyone. I have a very beautiful presentation prepared for you to deliver this information in the most flowing way. So let's begin. Here we go. Okay. So this is our topic for today. And before we go in to how this thing is going to come about, I would like to say a few words about human design, just for those of you who may not have heard much about it or not know much about it. Human design is a system that's relatively new because it has been downloaded to us through Ra Uruhu in 1987. So it's been about 40 almost years. And it's a beautiful system that incorporates astrology, the Kabbalah, the I Ching, the Chinese Book of Changes, the Indian chakra system, and quantum physics to tell us how we are designed energetically to thrive and to eliminate resistance. It's an amazing self-help tool and a way to go deeper into our true nature and to find out how do we tick, what makes us tick, all right? So, and I'm pleased to see some of you here who have already had your reading with me and to see you interested to go deeper into what else is there, right, beyond that. So a little bit about me. I am a projector, one of the 22% in the world who are the energy guides of the planet. And my passion is to share this information with those who are ready to take it on. And remember that Ra, the founder of this knowledge, says that only 4% on the planet will be really ready to embark on this journey, which requires us to get away, take away the power of our mind for making decisions for ourselves and to come into our body where our true GPS compass really is. So I'm very excited to be supporting individuals and groups with this work. And to make this class viable for everyone, I am going to take a moment to let you get your charts ready. So some of you will already have had your charts, so you don't need to do much more. But for those of you who haven't, you can go to this website, humedes.com/en, and just it's a free to log in. So if you're watching this on the replay, you can just pause the video and go and get your chart up. And when you log in to this website with it's free to sign up, and you can generate your chart, which looks just like that. That is all you need for today to understand and to make sense of this class and to find out exactly how your body is designed to digest information, to sleep, and whether your dreams will be affected by what you eat on a daily basis. So I will go ahead as if everybody has now gotten this information. And so once you do, you will notice that you come up with a specific energy type. And your energy type will be either a generator, a manifesting generator, manifestor, projector, or reflector. So, and I will go into each one of these, how each one of us is designed to sleep and what will improve our sleep as an energy type uniquely designed with our energy. And then we're going to go a little bit deeper. So this I chose this website because it is one of the best websites to show us what happens during our sleep. So once we are asleep, our human design changes. And for most of us, it turns into something else. Now, for some of us, may not, but usually it does. And most of the people who, when we are asleep, we are reflectors in our sleep. With reflectors being only 1% of the population in waking life, you can see how dramatic this is on a global scale. So make sure that you know your sign, your human design type, particularly when you are awake for now, which is your your chart. And why do we want to have better sleep, right? I mean, human design says that we get the most conditioning during sleep. So when we go to sleep horizontally, because our type changes and we become something else, I, for example, turn into a reflector. My partner also turns into a reflector. But I know some of you here, for example, Helena, she is a projector in our waking life. But when she goes to sleep, she turns into a generator, her aura. So very different movie. And then these changes in us affect us, obviously, on a daily basis. So once you are asleep and your chart changes, we call this the dream rave. This is simply how human design says that, you know, this is your sleeping chart. They call it the dream rave. And it can tell us so many things about even the nature of our dreams. It's uncanny, isn't it? So I'm going to go through the types now. And first, I'm going to go in with the generators and manifesting generators, which together make about 70% of the population. It's lovely to see Rory here as a representative. I don't know what Hillary, what you are, but you can type in the chat if you want. I haven't checked your chart yet. I know Fiona is a generator. So manifesting generators and generators, ultimately they have the generator aura. And if you want to know a little bit to find out more about what it means to be a generator and how to connect with your sacral response, especially if you're a sacral authority, I have another masterclass which is free to watch, and I think I have put it on YouTube. Let me have, oh, it's Hillary's generator too, beautiful. I will post a link to that if you want to, you know, go deeper into that, because this class will solely focus on sleep, diet, and dreams. So for you guys, because you have so much energy when you're not burned out, obviously, remember, doing anything that you don't love will also burn you out, just like any other type. But because of your sacral energy, which is in abundance, once you live correctly, you need to burn a lot of energy during the day and get tired in order for when you get at the end of the day to be able to have a sound sleep. So it's very important for generators to have the correct physical and mental activity throughout the day so they can release this energy. Otherwise, if you go to bed and you haven't done much and you're not tired, you'll simply feel agitated. You may even feel frustrated that you can't go to sleep. And yeah, if you're not tired, it might be really hard to get to sleep for you guys. So bear this in mind. And it's sometimes it does not actually, it is not so if you, for example, are recovering from something. I live with a generator because my partner is as well. So I noticed that if there is some kind of a burnout that you're going through, you may actually need more rest. However, there is something that can be very healing and restful as well sometimes for generators, which is walks in nature. Actually, walks in nature works for everyone. But for the generator, just a gentle, simple walk can really do wonders when you are in a kind of a recovery, recuperating part of your life, and you still, want to get a good night's sleep, but you don't have the energy to exhaust yourself during the day. And the other thing is, you can also, mental activity can also be something that also can help you release energy, right? So all the work doesn't always have to be totally physical. It can be a mixture of both, or it can be either or, depending on what's coming up for you. However, remember that it's very, very important to have that um, in your bedroom, to have that alone space where you can sleep alone. I know that for all the other types who have the sacral open, this may be even more important, but generators and manifesting generators, not every generator stays a generator at night. Like I said, most of you will be reflectors, some of you will be projectors. And so it's good to have that space, not to get conditioned during the night by your partner. And sometimes this can be tricky, especially for generators with tribal energy. This is when you have that sense of touch and closeness, and cuddles can be very healing for you. So a lot of generators, I notice, they feel resistance initially to sleeping alone, simply because they do like to sleep with their partner, especially if there's two generators cuddled together. So what I'm saying here is not like, oh, I have to do this because Ina said that. No way. First of all, everything has to be, first of all, be filtered through your own inner authority. So whatever your inner GPS is in the body, it also will say it in the chart. and also common sense, and honoring, what feels right for you. So bear this in mind about everything I say today in this class. Okay, so if you have question at any time, you can just unmute yourself or raise your hand and ask me, or you can just post the question in the chat, because as I can complete one slide, I'll go over to the next, especially if nobody's raising their hand. So I think that I have covered the generators. Remember, manifesting generators, you also have this generator aura. So everything that's why I've grouped it together, because both need sleep at those terms in the same way. Okay, so we continue to the manifester. Now, manifestors are the most freedom-loving sign of all, and manifesting generators obviously will have some of the traits from the manifester, but they do have access to that sustainable energy, with manifestors don't. So even though they thrive on freedom and autonomy, for them also it's important to make sure that they are protecting their aura at night, that they're sleeping alone, and that they maybe don't wait too long before they go to bed. Because remember, the not self theme of our sacral is we don't, when this sacral is open or white in your chart, which is the square second from the bottom up in your chart. If it's white, it means that you need, you don't know when enough is enough in the not self, when you're not correct. So we sometimes may tend to push ourselves to stay a bit longer at night than we have to. And this will go for all of the manifestors, reflectors, and projectors, because we are the ones with those white sacrals. Every generator has a defined sacral. So for them, it's easy. Generator just feels tired and boom, they hit the pillow, usually. It's like in the ideal sense, but on an average more often than not. Whereas we look at the open sacrals and we see staying up late, not being, especially if we live with a generator partner, not being able to stop before we are tired, and not knowing, not really going to bed when it's good for us. So for manifestors, it's good to allow yourself to go to bed when you naturally feel tired, or ready, before you feel tired. So noticing the energy. Oh, maybe 9 o'clock. And this is not about the curfew, guys. I'm not saying everybody at 9 o'clock should just, stop what they're doing and go horizontal. Although in an ideal world, for all these 30% of us not have open sacrals, I would recommend it. But a manifestor can create a peaceful personal space for sleep that is free of distractions and any responsibilities, which will assist them in that, especially if there's no screens involved, which is so challenging these days. And something relaxing in the evening as a routine. Not to be any pressure there in the environment. And because they love freedom so much, for them is okay to be open to, allow that to happen and, go like with that naturally in a way, if you want. Even though in the beginning for all of us may be a bit challenging, simply because we are conditioned to a certain routine or used to a certain routine. And I have a lot of friends, projectors, who say, oh no, there's no way I can go to bed until midnight. And I totally understand it because, they're in their 40s or 50s and they, plowing through and know that that's how they go. And manifestors might find themselves in the same way too. So I would say, like everything, experiment with it. That is the guidelines for what is healthy for you. See how you can allow it with as much freedom as possible. Okay, and we come to the projectors. Now, we are even more vulnerable than we're actually more vulnerable than all of the types in terms of conditioning, because we get the most conditioning during the day as well, simply because of the nature of our aura. The projector aura is focused and penetrating aura. So when we are interacting with someone else, the rest of our aura is really vulnerable to conditioning. And having in mind that while we sleep, we are even more prone to conditioning, you can imagine how important it is for us projectors to unwind before we get tired. Get horizontal. And when I say get horizontal for all the open sacral types, what it means is you don't have to go to bed and try to fall asleep straight away. It's very hard for that to happen. It does happen with a lot of open sacrals, actually, especially if the root is defined. I have noticed that my sister has the root defined and she just hits the pillow and she's gone. And I am there like this for 1 hour. I need at least, because I have 7 open centers versus my sister has 4 or 5 open centers. And so the difference is that she needs, when we have the more open centers in your chart you have, where the white spaces are, you may even be a generator and find that true for yourself. Our open centers, they amplify the energy of everybody else out there. So we may need a lot more time to release everything that we have collected during the day, and especially the sacral. So we always need to aim, we projectors, to go to bed before that moment of exhaustion. And we can read, we can do things in the bed that are relaxing, so that we allow naturally to get tired and to fall asleep. Because if we start pushing ourselves too hard, ultimately, first of all, we're not productive the next day. And when we are not rested, we also tend to experience a lot more bitterness. And I would say that actually will be true for all the types. The generators will be more frustrated, the manifestors will be angrier, we will be bitter, and the reflectors will live in a lot more disappointment than surprise. So we can all do very well with using certain meditative practices or gentle breathing exercises to help us go into sleep. So I would say I call this sleep hygiene because it's at the moment, Gamadian and I are teaching a lucid dreaming course, which I'm happy to see Rory here from it. And in when we want to strengthen our dreaming, we need proper sleep. Without actually having a sound sleep, we won't be able to dream. And we first need to dream, then to remember our dreams, and then the next step is to go aware, become aware, and actually know that we are dreaming while we are dreaming. So anything that a lot of things can help with that as we start unwinding to bed, which is less screen time, bringing those new features of the apps and technology that is available now to allow in the evening our screens to go dimmer, dim the brightness on your screens so that your eyes are not affected by so much light coming in. And having anything that is to do with gentle breathing or meditation exercises or practices that you might have will really be helpful as well. And of course, the most important thing is try to sleep alone, or at least try it, right? If you don't, if you can't have it every single day, at least do it 2 or 3 times a week. Sorry, if you can't do it every day of the week, you can do it a few days a week, right? Or, experiment with it. Okay. And the last type is the reflector. It's only 1% of the population reflectors, but this still means quite a lot of millions of reflectors out there. So the reflectors are really influenced by their environment, a lot more so than all of us. And when I say environment, it means the place where they are, and also the transits, especially the moon, which gate the moon is on the day, because it goes through a different gate throughout the month. And this is what affects the reflector's energy the most, a lot more than other people, like for example it is with the projector, because the reflector's aura has this Teflon-like quality. It is very reflective. It reflects the environment and the people around it, but it also is quite sturdy as a protection shield for the reflector, because they are completely open. There's no definition in their body graph, and so all of their centers are wide open. I mean, not wide open, they obviously has gates, but they are undefined. So that makes so important for reflectors to create the right space for them to sleep. It has to reflect peace. It has to reflect calm. It has to feel good to them, basically. And again, for reflectors, like for all open sacrals, go to bed before you're tired, and make sure that you make your sleeping environment as harmonious, as peaceful and as good as it possibly can feel to you. If you experiment with that and see, especially if you are struggling with your sleep at the moment, if you're a reflector, check that. Check if improving your environment where you sleep improves things for you. And if you've been sharing your bed with a partner, see what happens when you sleep alone. Releasing the sacral energy, and for you, all of the energies of the day, may mean that your first hour of going horizontal, you may not be able to blink an eye, and that is totally normal. Okay, so far we have seen how each type is basically designed for optimal sleep, right? So I would say sleep hygiene, this first part. And now, how would our diet affect our dream life, right? Now, I have been through so many diets through my life simply because I'm a bit of a health junkie. And I had a healthy vegan lifestyle at one point. First, I was a vegetarian for a while. Then I was vegan. There was raw food, all raw. Then I went over the top with the fats. And then during COVID, I was diagnosed with cancer diagnosis. And that's when I discovered the medical medium, which in 2 months, with some energy and shamanic practices, with the help of the medical medium protocols, within 2 months, I cleared it all. And so far, it's been fine. Now, what I discovered during that time that I tried the medical medium, that I started using the medical medium protocols. And if you don't know who the medical medium is, you can check the medicalmedium.com. It's a practitioner called Anthony William, who hears a voice called Spirit of Compassion that tells him what's wrong with people health-wise and how to improve it naturally. And so what I discovered during that time was also, I went deeper into human design right at that time as well. Just literally 6 months before that, I was going through my first part of the human design training, and I just discovered that thing about health and digestion in human design. So I was like, wow, that's so incredible. And this is actually when I started implementing it. And I noticed that my whole overall health and energy and everything just started improving dramatically. And so to find these deeper layers in our chart, I want to take you into your chart on that platform, humedes.com/en. And so here you will know that there is something called dream rave alongside that line of words. You have your rave chart, and then you have your dream rave. So your rave chart will be your everyday type, which here it says projector. This is my chart, by the way. And then underneath it, you will see your chart as you sleep, which it says a reflector. Okay. So, and on the left-hand side here, you will see 3 words which are light field, the earth plane, and the demon realm. And don't worry about those names. I know they sound a bit grandiose, but you know, they just terms. So don't buy too much into them. So I'd like you to write down which type you are when you're asleep. So for me, this will be a reflector. So see what it says for you. So for Helena, this will be a generator. Rory, maybe you were a reflector too. I don't remember. And then note down which field, plane, or realm you have active gates in your dream chart. Sleep simply by clicking on each of these light field, earth plane, or demon realm will show you if you have activations there. Okay. So once you know where you have activations, that's all you need for now. At your own time, you can go into these and check what each of these gates mean, and that will show you how, you know, what you are more likely to experience in your dreams. Like, for example, I have active gates in all of these 3 realms. Some people may not. The other day I was looking at my chart, my latest client's chart, and they only have 1 gate activation in their whole chart. That's it, nothing else. Just 1 gate. And so this person, obviously, I was like asking them about how do you sleep, and and they were saying, oh, I sleep fine, I have no problems. I'm like, well, obviously this very quietly, you know, theme at night for you. Sometimes it's just lucky like that. Sometimes we have a lot going on. But whatever it is correct for us. There is no good and bad here. Okay, so note it. And now we are going to go into that world of the dream rave. Now, depending on whether you have active gates in the light field, the earth plane, or the demon realm, these, all they do is they represent the different dimensions of consciousness that we experience while we dream, while we sleep. But what is the things we remember from our sleep, ideally, if we have healthy brains, is our dreams. So now at the end of this presentation, I have prepared a specific map so that how each one of us is designed to actually nourish our brains optimally so that we can experience better health. So we go into the light field first. Now, the light field is the highest vibrational realm of the dream state. And if you have active gates there and you check in with their meaning, you will see that what's happening in the light field is an expansive spiritual and collective dreams. This is where we might experience symbolic and deeply spiritual dreams. This is where our consciousness gets in touch with those global cycles and global themes of whatever humanity is working on as a collective. So the nature of these dreams may feel quite abstract, quite otherworldly, and it may even feel connected to the divine. I have such dreams very often, which I am very pleased to say. And this wasn't always the case. I used to have a lot of nightmarish type of dreams when I was a kid, and even dreams where I would be having recurring dream every night for like years sometimes, and every time I will be falling into that river, and every time I'll be falling in exactly the same way, and exactly as I fall into the river and I go down, I wake up. I never died, but the feeling when I was falling into the river was as if I was going to die, but I never died. I always woke up, you know, just when I'm supposed to, like, okay, that's it. It's like, okay, it's fine. So it never actually got so scary that to scare me, because, and also I was so used to it. But these dreams that are in the light field are of different nature. This is where we can access guidance. This is where we can get in touch with our higher self and access inspiration for, you know, whatever we want in our life, or whatever is presenting in our life. Let me see this in the chat. Oh, Helena, yes, it's a generator in the sleep. Now, this is something that I experienced a lot more, this thematic in my dreams, in this part of my life, or ever since I started lucid dreaming, which was maybe 20 years ago. But, you know, I'm really, really pleased to see that this expansive spiritual cosmic sense in my dreams is very present very often. And sometimes I would be experiencing scenarios like studying something in a new light and language or something, or some being talking to me in some language which I don't understand in this reality, but in the dream is perfectly understandable. We are like buddies, and, you know, I'm speaking this language, or I will be speaking some of the other languages which I know, like Russian, and my Russian is very rusty nowadays, but in my dreams it will be, I'll just be like, right, back on track. And very often I will have this expansive, like mandala-like spaces where the parts of the mandala are emitting light and information to me. I'll be going through like Akashic libraries type of, you know, spaces. And so this is all about the light field. It's where these high vibrational realms of maybe a part of, you know, I'm sure these are like other worlds that we can visit. And so if you have the light field, the most important thing for you to understand is that if you only have gates in the light field, your diet won't be directly affecting your dream life, you know, because in the light field, it's not so connected. Actually, the only place that is connected, that makes our dream life connected to what we eat is the earth plane. So only if you have gates, active gates in the earth plane while you sleep, your what you eat will directly affect how your dreams are or how you sleep, but mostly what you dream. So here in the earth planes, what we see is the dreams that reflect our everyday physical world the most. And in our lucid dream course now, the most thing that we repeat the most is that our waking life and our dreaming life are connected. So because we are creatures of habit, when we have habitual actions and behaviors in the day, in the waking life, they automatically come to be expressed in the dream life. So when these habitual behaviors and patterns are super habitual and repetitive and unconscious, that is exactly the dream life that we have, fairly unconscious. Like we see a pig flying and it's totally fine, right? But processing everything that is to do with processing our emotions and unresolved issues and the daily day events is actually happening on the earth plane. So you may notice if you have gates there, you may notice that these are also some of the types of dreams that you have. And I have actually active gates in all of the three planes. So one of the first thing I noticed when I learned to lucid dream in, I think it's 2024, was I embarked on a lucid dreaming quest, and in 10 days I had my first lucid dream. I did a 30-day course of Laberge's course with also the information from Carlos Castaneda. And what I realized was that most of the stuff that was going on, especially the minute I became a bit aware in my dream, was to do with unprocessed emotional stuff from my waking life, and mostly to do with the relationship with my mother, because this was the most challenging and at the time confronting relationship in my life. Happy to say it's no longer so. I mean, it's still an intense relationship. It's just simply that I have grown to not allow it to bother me, and certainly not so much in the dream space anymore. So here we're looking at dreams that are a lot more literal, a lot more one-on-one to like what it is in the day. And they can be about relationships, they can be about work. I remember that the minute I went to work in a new place, anytime in my life, I straight away start dreaming about it. And it can be about any life challenges that you're going through. It's really, these dreams are where we get to integrate and also to understand what's actually happening to us in our daily life. And I think that the earth plane is very important in that way, because it's dreaming becomes a great platform to improve your life, right? Or to learn from what happens in your life. And the fact that what we put in our mouth directly affects it, it's even more amazing. Now, in some ways, we can see how this may be not good, but with trying out healthier ways of living and of eating can really be beneficial for us here. And this is actually the reason why I included that the primary health system at the end, which means how each one of us is uniquely designed to process and digest food under what conditions and circumstances, because there is no healthier way for us when it comes to food than to align it with what is correct for each one of us. yes, there are diets out there that are very healthy, like the medical medium and some vegan diets. And even the carnivore diet, medical medium is not against eating meat. He's simply against eating meat in certain ways and eating certain types of meat. So uh, I think once each one of us gets all of whatever is out there through that lens of how it uniquely affects us, uh, we can experience a much more improved and how do I say it, successful dream states, especially if we are getting on that, if we are excited about the idea of becoming lucid and we want to include that part of our life where we sleep to actually be useful to us, like it used to be, like it was and it is for the sorcerers of ancient Mexico and the Toltecs and a lot of other cultures. Actually, there is dream yoga there, and there is a lot of dream work that the Tibetan monks do. In African tribes are so known for their dream herbs and dream rituals, and you know, dreams have been used by our ancestors for eons because they didn't have screens and phones. So what did they do is they went to bed and they dreamed. Okay, so let's carry on. Now, the demon realm is the last part of that. And here, if you have gates here, like me, this means that part of your dreams will also incorporate your, will be dealing with your shadow self. And don't get scared by the picture I chose. All of these pictures actually AI generated because I like how I can just tell it what to do. And it does it more often than not. So, but I think this one really depicts well our fears because depending on the perspective, fears can take on abnormal sizes. We all know this stories about that. And so here, the demon realm is actually not a scary place. It is a place where we get to work with these unresolved fears and traumas, and everything that, and all the unconscious drives in our life. And even though it may mean darker, more intense dreams, it's actually a way to for us to process and come through the other side. Because when we talk shadow work, it's all about accepting, allowing, accepting, and embracing those parts of us that we that simply have not been okay to express in our family. And let's face it, every family has, you know, what do you call it? Preferences. It's like, okay, we choose, these emotions are allowed here, but these are not. And so that's what conditions us, and that is why self-reflection and self-exploration and personal development work can be so good. So here we are dealing with a bit more unsettling dreams. We are dealing with themes that involve the themes of fear, control, and inner conflict. And I remember when I was faced by one of the first dreams, when I start having those dreams of, I was literally faced the with those fears of not being good enough, particularly because I have an open will center or ego center in human design, my human design chart, and I also am motivated by hope, which is another further deeper aspect of it. But if you're a projector, you might really need that information about yourself. And so I was being guilted from a very young age to simply for means of control, because otherwise my mother couldn't control me so easily. I was always a smart cookie, being a projector, and she's a manifesting generator. Of course, she needs guidance. Just exactly when she's not asking for it, right? So in the dream, I would find myself and I would be like, oh, I just feel right now that whatever whatever I'm experiencing here is this just big fear that I'm not good enough and that nobody loves me and nobody wants to even look at me. One of the other fears of projectors, which is not being seen, because we hate to be recognized. So the other alternative can be really draining, really scary. And I would be like, but because I'm aware in the dream, and I'll be like, I'll notice what my body posture is in the dream and what's happening. And I'll be like, okay, where do I feel this? Where do I feel this? And it will always be somewhere around the solar plexus, like all issues of power and control. And I'll be like, okay, just look at your hands, stay in the dream, look at your hands and see what's happening, and then I will notice something will shift and I will feel like a guidance of how to breathe to release that from my solar plexus, or that it's okay to be there, just allow it. And whatever it is, any of these dreams, even if they start really dark, with awareness, we can shift them. With awareness, everything shifts. And I I was really surprised when I used to, sometimes I would have scary characters in my dream, like someone literally attacking me, not very often, but every time I would become aware that this is happening, the attacker will change shape or the dream will transform, or it never really ended badly. So this is very, very good for our personal transformation on a very deep level. Literally, we can tap into the unconscious very, very easily here. And even though it may be uncomfortable, it is a lot of worth it. So here it's all about healing. So if you have gates in that realm, don't fret, just allow it. And I would recommend lucid dreaming, looking into lucid dreaming. And you don't have to come and check in with us. There's so much information out there now. Just follow the rabbit hole and see where it takes you. Because ultimately, the magic of this knowledge is not learning it, it's living it. And we can only try these things out for ourselves. That's why human design says experiment with it and see what happens. And we come to the personal health standard. Now, our digestion in human design is affected by a lot of factors that are conditions and circumstances. And so it's not only about how we digest our food, but because if you think on a metaphysical level, the stomach doesn't digest just food, but everything else that happens to us, which is what it is, it's information. So the way that we process and digest our food is also totally related to the way we digest and process information, aka our learning style. And I actually have a list somewhere which it's not mine, it's from another human design teacher, and I really resonate with this list. And if any of you want to check it out, just let me know. It's about each learning style, which actually we are going to go into a little bit more here. And so go back to your chart on that thingy, or on the human design, humdes.com, or check in your, if you have an advanced chart. What means an advanced chart? That you will see those arrows on both sides of the body graph. And then you will see also, so the digestion is connected with the top left arrow. Okay, so you're looking at the top left arrow. And first of all, you want to notice whether this arrow is pointing left or whether it's pointing right. So in my case, my top left arrow is pointing left over here. And then we are looking at the number, which is underneath this top left arrow, and is the number 3 that is the number that is in a circle, in a kind of brownish yellow circle. Yeah, not the other two numbers, but the one on the left. That is number 3 for me, but for you will be different number, or it still may be 3, but check what the number is for you. And now, if you don't have left, perfect, right? So if you don't have, so this number will be different depending on your time of birth. So if you don't have the exact time of birth, this may not be the right number for you. I'm sorry, but you'll have to get the exact number, birth time, to get this number correct, because it may change as quickly as 15 minutes in the day, this number. We don't know. Sometimes it is quite quick. And so I will go ahead as if you know your exact birth time. If you don't know it, find a way to message me, and I will connect you with a practitioner or a Vedic astrologer who can rectify the birth time for you. These services are quite effective, and I have seen it done with people a lot. And we dive into all of those. So depending on which of your numbers is, these are the deeper meanings of your line on the Sun and Earth plane of the Sun and Earth on your design side. Design side means when you were born, 3 months before you were born of your body. And also your unconscious side. And this is actually what affects our brain health, optimum brain health, and the way we process information. And we start with the number 1. So these are called colors. And so the color 1 is connected to appetite. So if in your chart you've got this yellow circle is number 1, you are appetite. And the appetite is this is the hunter-gatherer body. Human design tells us for each one of these that it gives us the type of our body, and these are the conditions. The beginning of this process is the conditions, not the circumstances at which we eat our food. And so the beginning, the first 3 colors are representative of a very primitive digestive system. And this is the body of the hunter. Back in the day, when people used to live in caves and hunt and kill animals to eat, they would go out and, let's say, kill a rabbit and come back and eat the rabbit. They wouldn't eat a rabbit tikka, for example, with all sorts of hundreds of spices, the herbs. They would just roast it and eat it from the bone. So it's one thing at a time, right? A very primitive digestive system. So usually when I say to people that they have this digestive system, they don't like it at first. I mean, it's so hard because this is really about your sense of safety and security, and it is all about eating simple food. Now, you can share with me if anybody has so first left and right, okay. If anybody has this appetite. But basically, here we are looking at meals that have very basic ingredients and that have not used spices, if at all, for cooking. Very basic, very simple. And they are to be consumed one thing at a time. So you can see how this is about not gourmet food. Not gourmet food. Oh, number 3, Helena, you're lucky. I am number 3. So, but, it does not mean that is some kind of a sentence, because this is all about how your body engages with food and information. So as you follow your strategy and authority in human design, you will notice that Rory is a 5, great. I'm going there. And you will notice that it really is about the health of the optimum health of your vehicle, of your body, and of your brain system. And it all starts with us eating correctly. because the food is the biggest conditioner, and we've all been conditioned from very early age to eat according to the eating habits and preferences of our family. So if we are part of this Asian culture where everybody's eating the spices and all the heavy foods, and their appetite, color one, digestion, they are much more likely, especially if they're emotional and they're eating when they're under stress and under some influence of emotions, they may actually end up with a lot of digestive issues that hardly anything may rectify unless they go on a simple diet like this. So here, if you have a right-facing arrow, you are alternating, which means you have to use food as fuel and slowly. So you can do snacks, you can do grazing, you can, have relaxed eating. Because food nowadays has become so increasingly complicated and having so many additives and fillers and dyes and I don't know what. And your digestion is about eating simply and consuming one thing at a time. And if you're alternating, what it means is that you can have a few things on your plate, but they all have to be very simply prepared. Let's say the chicken, the potato, the broccoli. And then you take one bite of one, then one bite of the other, and one bite of the other, right? But if you are left and you are consecutive, and so when you're alternating, it also means that the way you process information and digest information you'll be drawn to alternate the way you do that. If you are exposed to the one way of receiving information, you may get bored quickly. So knowing that about yourself will give you the permission to allow yourself to have this variety in your life and not think that, oh, I have to be rigid and I have to focus here for hours on end. It's not supposed to be like that. So, and if you have a left-facing arrow and you are consecutive, it means that you only need to eat one ingredient at a time. And after you've consumed that ingredient, you go on to the next one, if it makes sense. And then being fueled in a consistent manner and means also that you will do much better with standard meals and less snacking. So because the difference here is that the left arrow brain will always need more regular nourishment and more nourishment than the right. This is very important. And also these colors from 1 to 3, we don't do very well with fasting. So bear this in mind. The colors, after when we go there, I'll tell you which colors are, the last 3 colors are much more open to that. Even though that if you are alternating, you may skip meals. Like I said, the right brain does not need so much fuel like the left brain, because the left brain is a lot more active and the right brain is a more passive brain. Okay, so let me know if you are appetite and right 5, great. Oh, we have both right 5 with Hillary, nice. So we're gonna go to 2 now. So 2 is taste. And the taste people are the most picky and selective people in the world. And as you can see, we have 6 colors. So this means 1/6 of humanity is going to be taste. My sister is taste. And the color 2 is very selective, very picky about who they choose, what they choose. And they are really, really doing good with when they eat what's in season. And what's in season in their part of the world. Like they don't do very well with goods that come from abroad, ideally. And here, this is still a primitive digestive system that is the body of the gatherer. So we went from the hunter to the gatherer. And the gatherer body is, you know what the gatherer does? They go out in nature and they pick the blueberry, they pick the raspberry. And so they pick what's local and what's in season. That's what it's based on. And so when you have the right arrow point, the left arrow pointing to the right, it means that you have a closed taste digestion. So what it means is that these are people who just, they like to stick with what they know and what they enjoy, and eating the same food for them can be perfectly fine and perfectly healthy, even if they decide to do it forever. Obviously not if it's pizza. But that's the idea, because it is a condition-based digestion. And so the interesting thing here about the two is because they are so closed, my sister is closed, just so rarely open for new things. So they don't need to try new things to know whether they like it or not. They have like an inbuilt radar, and they just know, and then they go no. I remember my sister, she would say no to everything you tried to put into her mouth for the first 3 years of her life. And the only thing my mother would get through there was yogurt. They would just eat yogurt most of the time. And she's still like that. And so this is someone who is okay for them to be super picky and super snobbish. And it's, the more they push themselves to be like everybody else and to be open to things, actually the more it will hurt the way their body digests their food. And if you are open on the other side, you naturally will be more adventurous and open to trying new things, and it will be okay for you to try new things. You can still be very selective with the quality of it or the simplicity of it, but generally a bit more open, and in a similar way with information as well. So this is someone who is very attuned to their sensations, gustatory sensations, shall I call them. These are, the taste people. They like to really, and they also would have a very good taste in life as well, simply because taste is, a big thing for them. They will actually tend to process and understand the whole world through their sense of taste. And they will have very strong preference towards certain flavors and certain food experiences. And they also may prefer environments in a similar way, a way they can savor all the different flavors. And they can have different culinary experiences, for which some will be open and others closed. And they might also enjoy cooking and tasting food as well. My sister is the close taste, and she is a great cook, and she loves cooking. So that's why they may also really like sharing meals and culinary experiences with others, and this can be a very important ways for them to bond and to connect with others. And my sister loves that. She's constantly eating out with someone. They may also have a very refined palate, like these people that we call foodies. My sister's a total foodie. They also enjoy discussing these kind of things, like different tastes with other people and talking about it. And they actually may learn the best through experiences that involve tasting or experimenting with flavors. Very interesting about them. So anything that's to do with experiences with food and taste, like cooking classes or food tasting or sensory evaluations, will be a really great place for them. Okay, so we are moving on to thirst, color 3. So this is my color as well, and and Helena's as well. So here we are going to the last of the primitive digestive systems, which is the transformator body, the body of the transformator. And why the transformator? Because thirst is connected with liquids, and particularly the temperature of those liquids. So thirst people, we are really good. What it's really good for us is to drink more liquids, and this way we will have better memory, interestingly enough, the more we drink. And that's why you always see me drinking something. I just can't go without mine. These days it's warm liquids, and but it's a very, very interesting how our body, at the body of the transformer for the color 3, regardless of whether you're left or right, cold or hot, is what is the most important, interesting things about the transformer body is that these are bodies that are, they are the quickest to be affected by what we put in our body and by how we move our body. I, for example, am a perfect, for one, I'm a perfect example of this. The minute I used to hate it back in the day because my sister is taste, and she's never ever put on weight regardless of what she eats or how much she eats it. The minute I change something, start eat a little bit more, the next week I am bigger. And I don't just get big in one part of the body like some people and can get away with it. My body gets bigger everywhere. Even literally my nose puts on weight when I start putting on weight. So, but then I discovered that the minute I start exercising, the minute I clean up my diet, it affects me very quickly as well. So, it has its pros and cons. What to do? We have to go with it. But it is still a primitive digestive system, which means that if your arrow is facing right, then you have a lot of heat in your body. And so drinking and eating everything on the cold side will be very good for you, very much more healing and healthy. And so what it means, it doesn't mean everything has to come from the freezer. It means body temperature or below. And these are the people who we can do very good on raw diets because juices and stuff, everything that comes fairly cold, or even uncooked foods like raw diet and food and drink. So go with it and see also if it resonates with your body, if your inner authority okays it. And if you are on the left, like me and Helena, and you're hot, we have a cold digestive system. So our body needs whatever we put in it to be at body temperature or above or hotter, higher or warmer, so that it can break it down. And it was a very big difference for me because usually what happens is when we are not correct, when we are not living as ourself, but as our not self, versus our true self, when we are not following our strategy and authority, we also tend to be more following the exact opposite of our whatever our determination is. So in our case, thirst, we will be going up to light, interestingly. And so I noticed this with Gamadian because he is light and he is really sometimes going into hot thirst and really wanting everything to be hot for him. And so we also may even swap. Let's say I am hot and I'm designed to drink everything on the warm side. But before that, I was drinking, before I realized that and started experimenting with it or following my strategy and authority, I would always drink everything on the cold side. Even with my tea, I wait until it gets cold for me to drink it. And now I don't do this anymore. And I notice that I just feel much better. Even my mood improves when I have a hot drink. It's like the world looks much better through a hot drink. And so, yeah. So this also means that we are a very experiential learner. The thirst people, because liquid food is very water is very fluid liquids, right? And because our body is designed on thirst, is connected to the liquids that we give it and how many we give it. It's one thing for us that we are a very adaptable learner, and we can learn very well through experience. Okay, so staying hydrated is the most important thing for us. Okay, and we come to the touch people. Now, I have a few friends who are touch people, and for us, for them, is all about gaining insight and perspective. The touch people are connected to how much actually busyness there is in their environment, or calmness, the lack of, intensive movement and stuff happening while they digest their food. And here is we are going higher now into the color scheme. So still primitive. So touch is going in a bit more refined digestive systems now. And the touch people have, we call it the receptive body. Because nervous, if you are right, it thrives on external stimulation. It helps them digest their food better. If there is movement around them, these are the perfect people that are to eat in restaurants. But if you are calm on the left, you require really calm to be able to digest. Was someone here? I'm just trying to think. No, we have 3 and 5. So yeah, so calm means really to eat alone. So you can see how conditioned we can be if you grow up in a house where everybody likes to eat all the time together. Like, especially if it's every day. Thankfully, in my family, my parents were more, my mother was more attuned to her thingy, to her digestion, how it is natural, that now I know. So she left us all at our own, on our own to, she would cook one big meal and just put it in the fridge, and then we would be responsible for reheating it. And I basically, because we, as a color thirst, the color, the number 3 is associated with trial and error, experimentation. So I really like to experiment in the kitchen, and besides, hot food is good for me. So I would always, be like the alchemist, cook something and prepare something. And that's how I started cooking, simply because I was really bored with having to eat the same meal for days on end. And my mother, she just doesn't like to cook. So there you go. There's always a silver lining. So here, when you require these calm environments to process, you really might consider being alone, might consider eating at home. And if that's not possible, you'd make exceptions and you sacrifice. Because obviously you cannot not set foot in a restaurant your whole life. There will come a moment when you would like to go out with others. So I'm not saying just, become a hermit and just eat alone. But over time, as you start experimenting with this information, you may just find yourself that that's just what you prefer. And that's totally fine. Because here, the calm people are very, very sensitive to noise and any form of external stimulation. These are the kind of people that tell you that you need to eat your food and be calm and not talk. And we had one teacher like that, one of our mentors, and it's like, we will go on this retreat and we'll be so many of us, like 20, 30 people eating together. And she'd be like, let's eat in silence. And everybody's going to be like, yeah, right. It only happens for like 2 minutes and that's it. I'm not saying it's not possible. Obviously, we have to do the best we can. So the mornings and the evenings can be very good moments of deep thought and creativity for these people that are calm. And the nervous touch people, they also will be very good at digesting information in environments that feel stimulating and that feel exciting. It really helps them digest food better that way as well. So yeah, the restaurant people. And because touch people are so sensitive to touch obviously will be very healing to them, and it will be very good for them to touch their food as they prepare it. Touching their food will also bring in that extra level of satisfaction and fulfillment. Because these people are very attuned to any tactile sensations, and they process the world through physical contact and the sense of touch. So this is why these are the kids that when you put them in the classroom, they just can't pay attention unless you give them something to hold, like a stress ball or something to play with. They always need something. So if you're a touch person and you find yourself that you need to go through learning environments or environments where you, or meetings where you get bored, have a stress ball, have something to hold on to, something to play with, and know that it is perfectly fine, especially if you're nervous. From time to time, get up and go and do something. Don't just, stay there. That's why I am so against this way in school where they don't allow children to play, because obviously some children are designed to learn in that state of play. Okay. So this is also where people really like to physically interact with their surroundings. Maybe any activities that involve hands-on engagement, like crafts or physical exercise, or any activity that touch is a key component. I know many massage therapists who are touch people. So personal contact in their relationship also obviously will be very important. So if you have a touch person partner, understand that this is important for them, or if they're tribal as well. I mean, there's a lot of places in the chart that may be indicative of this. So anything like hugs, handshakes, or simply being close to others will also naturally be very healing and enjoyable for these people. Okay. Now, we go to the sound people now. This is the acoustic body people. And from what I gather, we have 2 here now. Great. So guys, I love the sound determination because this is about the acoustic environment that surrounds us. And like I said, in those 4, 5, and 6 colors, fasting is can be very healthy for these individuals. This is the half population of the planet that fasting is good for them. But because you have the acoustic body and sound, the way sound works, this determination can also be a lot about sharing. Now, if you are low sound and you have right, let me double check. You are right. You're both right. Oh, great. So when you are right, your arrow is pointing right and you're sound, you are extremely sensitive to sound. So this is again a case where eating in silence, which might mean by yourself, may be the most healthiest for you. And it also means that all of the flavors and all of the information for you will be processed a lot slower than the opposite or left. So this is the right brain. So this is the receptive, the passive brain, where you like that information to coming from at one time. You like one flavor at a time, not savoring too many flavors overwhelm you. And so what Ra, the founder of Human Design, suggests for you guys is, for you is going to be very healthy to have noise canceling headphones. So, and you can experiment with it. See if these noise canceling headphones actually bring in that extra level of calm and good vibrations when you are eating your food. And because you may be sensitive to overwhelm, you may naturally prefer calm environments where you can control over how much information is coming into you, where you can control the level of the sounds around you, where you can control what kind of music is in the environment. Now, the most interesting thing about the sound people is that because you are so acoustic, anything to do with sound healing is extremely good for you and very, very effective. You are the 1/6 of humanity that sound baths are designed for, like literally. The sound bath will have the best effect over these brains that are in that acoustic body. And which means that things like mantras, chanting, even having a personal mantra will be really, really beneficial for you and very healing. And if you think about mantras, they probably work the best for you guys, because mantras are very transformational, but the way they work for you is just amazing, out of this world. So try that. And if you're on the other side, if you are left and you are high, you enjoy external stimulation through noise. You can process a lot of information at once. And you are one of these people that wants to be eating with your headphones on. And of course, the music has to be something that you like, but your digestion just enjoys multidimensional flavors and textures, a lot of sound around you. And this is also another version of the people who are just perfectly suited for restaurants and noisy environments and places where there is a lot going on. So you can see the difference. And also here on the left, your brain needs more nourishment. Here on the right, your brain doesn't need so much. So you may skip meals, it's totally fine for you. And fasting will also be healing for you. Okay, let me know if there are any questions. Now we come to the last one, which is light. This is my partner's color, and I know a lot about it because he's been experimenting with it. So light is all about, this is the light body. I love it, the light body. These are people who are sensitive to light. And so it's if you have an indirect, like if you have a left brain, you are here to eat during the daylight while the sun is out, before sundown. And to be honest, liquids are accepted at any time when people are not supposed to eat on that standard, but you can imagine how challenging this can be for a person who is living in this hemisphere, and in a few weeks when they change the time, maybe less than a few weeks, when they change the time and the day becomes so short, and Gamadian finds himself, how do I have dinner at 4 o'clock? I am not hungry yet. So that is why he goes to India. And he has a longer day. And he has a brighter day. To be honest, if you are direct light, and shorter days and gloomier days like we have in England can really affect your mood. It can really lead you to depression if you don't know how to handle it. So the advice we give here is simply to experiment with it and to check whether it's when it's correct for you for this to come in. Remember that human design experiment, it takes 7 years to decondition fully on a cellular level. So any time in that 7 years can be a time that your body gives you the signals to go and do it. For some people, happens much quicker. For some people, it takes all of the 7 years to finally click in and, take hold. For me, it took maybe about a year, but it's not a competition. It does not matter. What matters is that, it works for you. So the light body, these are the early risers, the big breakfast eaters, people who like, to start the day And they have a really unique ability to see how things work and to be positive, especially when they are in the sunshine. So direct light for them is very, very healing. But when you are born with the right brain here, with this color, you are in direct light. And this automatically makes you a nocturnal being. And now, nocturnal beings, we call them the night owls. They are the opposite. So for them, they need to have the big dinner, after sundown. And they may skip the breakfast altogether because the right brain doesn't need so much nourishment anyway. And they are perfect, that they thrive in overcast weather. They are the homebodies, that they it's not really correct for them to be exposed in the sunlight and to sunbathe like lizards. Uh, and I mean, they may have a little bit more pessimistic outlook on life compared to their direct light counterparts. However, this does not mean, that they can have to be pessimists. But one of my cousins recently got a nocturnal baby, and it's very good for you if you have children to check what they are, because if the baby's keeping you up all night and it's a nocturnal baby, it's actually correct for it to do so, and just tough luck what to do, especially if you are direct light, because I've heard about these situations as well. But the Ra used to give advice to these nocturnal beings, and he used to tell them, when find a way for you to do it correctly, but see if you can change your life pattern to be mostly active in the night, like to work late or night shifts. And he said that most of the people that he helped with this that were nocturnals, when they changed their lifestyle so that they were more active in the night, they all start thriving a lot better. And you may find that you've been pushing yourself too hard, like having the big breakfast, because everybody says that breakfast is the most important meal in the day. Well, not for you guys. Give yourself a break, because this actually may lead to you being overweight, or to you being having all form of physical symptoms and diseases that you don't know why you are dealing with it. And I've heard so many stories from women who are nocturnals, who are designed to actually snack at night, who are kicking themselves because they are pushing themselves to have the big meals in the day, and then they still can't stop snacking at night, and then they end up overweight. And it doesn't have to be like that, because you can just stay with your snacking at night. Perfect for you. Obviously not so perfect for the direct light people, but when we know, we have that permission, and when it is right for us, it will happen. Okay, so this completes our masterclass on sleep, dreams, and diet. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And thank you so much for those of you who joined me live. It means the world to me. Now, before I go, I just like to share one last thing with you all, which is my human design readings. So I know that some of you have had it, but for those who are watching on the replay and who haven't, I would like to just mention that I have a really good rapport and testimonials from my clients. When we dive deeper into your human design, what to expect is to become a lot more self-aware and to accept yourself a lot easier, to give yourself permission for who you truly are, and to know how to make those decisions, to know how to align with what inside you is the truth, where inside you is the truth, and how to get access to it, regardless of what's happening around you. because where humanity is heading and the background frequency of humanity at the moment is changing to make us a lot more self-sufficient and self-independent, well, more independent, but also more sovereign, in a way that all these organizations and community spirit that we've seen in the last 400 years is now changing completely to us becoming more everyone for themselves and thriving more in small communities or smaller groups. So the only saving grace for us humans is to know how to trust ourselves, how to not always look out for the external authority out there. You'll get a lot more insight on your career and purpose. Is even on your business, if you go for the business reading, your relationships will improve simply because you will understand how to treat the people around you with a way so that you release resistance. And you will be able to manage your energy a lot more effectively so that you don't burn out, especially projectors. And I have special offers for projectors, like my empowered projector session, where I teach you guys how to, and I help you to basically be more in touch with your energy and how to nurture it better. Because we need a lot of self-care. We all do, let's face it. Personal growth and transformation, it's an amazing tool for that. And of course, having this confidence to be unique and to be yourself. Because we don't want you to be anyone else. So here is a success story from one of my clients, Angelica, who first came to me for massage, and then we did her human design reading, and she really catapulted, especially the success that she has in her business, because she's a really lovely hairdresser, but a hairdresser who uses only organic products for hairdressing, which I'm in awe, because there's so much rubbish there in those products mainstream. So if you are looking for someone to do your human design reading, please make sure that you choose a person who you can understand what they say. Doesn't matter if it's me or not, because all that it matters is not how many degrees in human design the person has, but whether you can understand what comes out of their mouth. And in human design, we call these are people on our fractal, the people who we can have a clear line of communication with. So if I am this for you, and you book in the next week, you can use the code Love Myself on any of my human design readings on my website. You can go there with the quick link of bit.ly/reading with Ina. And I would love to be your human design guide and show you how to live a more aligned life. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this class, and you will have a lot more inspired and healthy sleep cycle and dreams. And why not lucid dreams as well? All the best. Bye.